Sunday, April 17, Preparation for the Flood. Genesis 6:13 to 7:10 reads, Then God said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them, and behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with rooms, and shall cover it inside out with pitch. This is how you shall make it. The length of the ark 300 cubits, its breadth 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and finish it to a cubit from the top, and set the door of the ark in the side of it. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. Behold, I, even I, am bringing the flood of water upon the earth, to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life. From under heaven, everything that is on the earth shall perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark, to keep them alive with you. You shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the animals after their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind, 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. As for you, take for yourself some of all food which is edible, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God had commanded him, so he did. Then the Lord said to Noah, Enter the ark, you and all your household, for you alone I have seen to be righteous before me in this time. You shall take with you of every clean animal by 7s, a male and his female, and of the animals that are not clean, 2, a male and his female. Also of the birds of the sky, by 7s, male and female, to keep offering and offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will send rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made. Noah did according to all that the Lord had commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood of water came upon the earth. Then Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him entered the ark because of the water of the flood. Of clean animals and animals that are not clean, and birds and everything that creeps on the ground, there went into the ark to Noah by 2s, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. It came about after 7 days that the water of the flood came upon the earth. What lesson can we learn from this amazing account of early human history? Like Daniel, Noah is a prophet who predicts the end of the world. The Hebrew word for the ark, teva, Genesis 6:14, is the same rare Egyptian loan word that was used for the ark, in which the infant Moses was hidden, who was preserved in order to save Israel from Egypt. Exodus 2:3. Also, some have seen in the general structure of the ark parallels to the ark of the tabernacle. Exodus 25:10. Just as the ark of the flood will permit the survival of humankind, so the ark of the covenant, a sign of God's presence in the midst of his people, Exodus 25:22, points to God's work of salvation for his people. The phrase, Noah did according to all that God commanded, Genesis 6:22, concludes the preparatory section. The verb asa, did, referring to Noah's action, responds to the verb asa, make, in God's command, which began the section, Genesis 6:14, and is repeated 5 times, Genesis 6:14 to 16. This echo between God's command and Noah's response suggests Noah's absolute obedience to what God had told him to do, to asa. It is interesting that this phrase also is used in the context of the building of the Ark of the Covenant, Exodus 39:32, 42, and Exodus 40:16. Patriarchs and Prophets, page 92, says, God gave Noah the exact dimensions of the ark and explicit directions in regard to its construction in every particular. Human wisdom could not have devised a structure of so great strength and durability. God was the designer and Noah the master builder. Again, the parallel between the two arks reaffirms their common redemptive function. Noah's obedience is thus described as a part of God's plan of salvation. Noah was saved simply because he had that faith to do what God commanded him to do. Hebrews 11:7. He was also an early example of a faith that manifests itself in obedience, the only kind of faith that matters. James 2:20. In short, though Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, Genesis 6:8, it was in response to this grace already given him that Noah acted faithfully and obediently to God's commands. Isn't that how it should be with all of us? Read 2 Peter 2:5-9. Why was only Noah's family saved? What lesson can we learn from the Noah story regarding our role in warning the world about coming judgment? From the book The Story of Redemption, pages 62 and 63, it says, More than 100 years before the flood, the Lord sent an angel to faithful Noah to make known to him that he would no longer have mercy upon the corrupt race. But he would not have them ignorant of his design. He would instruct Noah and make him a faithful preacher to warn the world of its coming destruction, that the inhabitants of the earth might be left without excuse. Noah was to preach to the people and also to prepare an ark, as God should direct him for the saving of himself and family. He was not only to preach, but his example in building the ark was to convince all that he believed what he preached. Noah and his family were not alone in fearing and obeying God, but Noah was the most pious and holy of any upon the earth, and was the one whose life God preserved to carry out his will in building the ark and warning the world of its coming doom. The Story of Redemption, page 62 and 63.